G'day, my name's Brian Martin and I'm the author of the book Running Technique. Just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of the content of the book and also talk a little bit about why I actually wrote this particular work. In terms of content, Running Technique is useful for a runner of any level of ability. What I've tried to do as I did my research and also wrote each chapter of the book was to decode as much of the scientific information as possible and recode that into regular English, so you didn't need to be a biomechanics PhD to understand how it is that running works. So the approach that I actually used was, in the way that I've thought about it at least, quite simple. When I talk to other people about how I've constructed this book, they actually think it's quite a different angle and a useful angle. What I've done is tried to understand how it is that the best runners actually move. So I've spent a fair bit of time studying elite runners, looking for research that describes how elite runners move, the kinds of muscle activation patterns they use, the type of strength training that they do, and so forth. So what I've done is basically construct a benchmark to look at what good running technique is. Now that's not designed to depress anyone like me who's actually just an average runner. What it does is gives me something objective that I can look at, that I can then measure myself against and then work towards improving. And that's really the large part of what this book about is, taking that benchmark and explaining how it is that a regular person can train for better running technique. So what I do is use a number of strategies in order to show people firstly how running technique works, so you can actually recognize what it looks like. Also then describe the muscles that actually drive that pattern so that you know which muscles are firing when within the running gait cycle. Also show you how to do a running gait analysis so that you can compare yourself against some reasonable benchmarks and try and decide whether you actually have problems with your running technique, or is there anything that you could work on to improve. The last part of the book really focuses in on how it is that strength and coordination training, and when I talk about strength training, it's not just muscling out at the gym lifting heavy stuff, it's actually more about developing good muscle activation patterns and postures that you can mimic in your running. So most of the exercises that I talk about that actually help you improve running technique are things that can be done outside of the gym, and often they're just body weight exercises that quite closely mimic how running works and help get the muscles firing in the right way at the right time so you can actually improve your running technique. So there's a fair bit of emphasis on that in the later part of the book, and then I get to the closing couple of chapters in which I really talk a lot about running footwear, and also whether it is that there's actually any benefit in terms of wearing motion controlled shoes, stability shoes, what's the impact of cushioning, what's the impact of heels on shoes, whether there's benefit in running barefoot, what are the risks of that, how would you actually approach that safely, and so forth. And then finally how it is you would actually choose shoes that suit your particular phase of running development and suit your technique as it is now. And the last part of the book is just a bit of an overview of some changes in regular training philosophy that I would recommend to help you improve your technique. So I hope you enjoy the book and I look forward to chatting to you further. Thanks.